and I truly understand the I don't know what the word would be, but the want for people to want to see more Justin and all that. I get that. But we also understand where we're at and what the true plan is. And all we can do is ask Justin to keep playing, and he's doing it, and Andy to keep playing, and Nick to keep playing.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the numbers this preseason for both guys, for Dalton and for Fields. Just that one touchdown pass for each. Fields, though, you know he's got that added running dimension to his game. Nick, let me start with you. What do you make of Nagy sticking with Andy Dalton as the Bears' starting quarterback heading into the season?
Yeah, it's obviously a mistake, and it's something I don't even think he wants to do, but it feels pretty obvious to me the Bears are suffering the consequences of having made a bad promise. They made a promise without giving themselves an out. I did this once. Prior to working for Fox, I moved around a lot with my family, and when we were down in Houston, I thought we were moving to Los Angeles, and then we ended up not moving. It was right before, it was about a year before my son was senior in high school, and I promised him, I'm like, listen, now that we're done with that scare, I promise you, we will not move for your senior year. About 2 months later, Fox offered me the job. I'd made that promise without giving myself an out, and I ended up commuting Houston to Los Angeles for a year. Did I enjoy that? No. Was my wife happy about it? No. But I had made a promise without giving myself an out of, unless something crazy happens. The Bears signed Andy Dalton, Brandon, to me it's pretty obvious, and promised him he would be the week 1 starter. And they did not give the out of, unless, you know, we draft a quarterback who's demonstrably better than you. And because of that, and because I don't think they want to lose credibility with future free agents, they don't want to break their word publicly, they are going to go down the hole of, well, we got to keep our promise, even though I don't think anybody wants to. So I think that's where they're at. I think Justin Fields will, in short order, be the starter, but they have to keep their promise to Andy Dalton, and that's why he's going to be the week 1 starter.
Nick, I understand what you're saying when you say the Bears and Matt Nagy probably promised Andy Dalton a starting role coming in, but loyalty means nothing in the NFL. You know who else promised a quarterback a starting role? Seattle Seahawks to Matt Flynn, and they gave him a big deal. But you know what? When Russell Wilson came in, guess who was the week 1 starter because of his play, how the team rallied around him, and what the fan base thought of him. Right now, this Bears franchise, they've been praying for decades for a guy like Justin Fields to come in. And when he comes in preseason and light it up the way he does, you have to roll with the hot hand. Matt Nagy, if he starts Justin Fields, this is not trial error. You're not taking a big risk. There's been a case study. It's been young quarterbacks that's been starting on day 1 that was successful. You know, you got the Deshaun Watsons, you have the Lamar Jacksons, you have the Dak Prescott, the Russell Wilsons. Patrick Mahomes was the starter in year 2, but it's been proven this isn't the late 90s, early 2000s where quarterbacks got to sit now. You got to roll with the hot hand. You know, maybe Matt Nagy knows something we don't know, whereas his job is safe if he goes 1-5 at the beginning of the season and he can make that switch. But these fans, they don't care about that time. They want this guy Justin Fields in there now. And you got to start on week 1 and keep that electricity in that stadium.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Brandon. The promises don't necessarily mean anything. Things change, and as much as you may have committed to someone, if someone else comes in and is better, then you're going to make that switch, and that happens. I don't think this is a function of trying to be legitimate or send a message to future free agents, because this administration won't be there unless the Bears win this season anyway. So it'll be a new head coach dealing with free agents if they're unsuccessful. Now, what I think this is more about is maybe Justin isn't ready to play at this point. And you want to make sure that he's got the best opportunity when he goes in to be successful. And lighting it up in the preseason doesn't always translate into success at all, because there isn't game planning. It's very simplified. If you can give him an opportunity to sit for even a few weeks and see what game planning is like, to go through that process, to give him more time to understand how this works, he could be in a better situation. You saw him get blown up against Buffalo, and part of that is something that he should have been able to get out of. The linebacker clearly walks up on the edge. The protection is going to the left. It's obvious there's only one real threat that could hit him, and he sends the protection to the left and doesn't get out of it, and gets lit up. And this is what you don't want to happen, especially if you don't have the most solid offensive line. You don't want to get this kid killed early, and I'm not saying you want to get anybody killed early, but at least Andy should be able to get in and out of protections and be able to ideally get into better situations if problems come up that a young guy typically isn't going to see.
So, Coach, they play the Rams on the road week 1. Do you think this is a specific, like, Aaron Donald decision where it's like, man, we don't want to play the Rams defense, on the road. We've got the Bengals at home week 2, but, like, let's just put Dalton out for week 1 and then maybe make the switch later on, but have you avoid, like, the league's best defense in your first game?
Yeah, Andy Dalton has the shortest runway of any starter, and that's obvious. But going into week 1 against a very difficult defense, against a defense that can give you multiple looks, that can give you multiple coverages, to be able to go in with a veteran that can get you in and out of plays, can get you in and out of protections. It's not saying that Justin doesn't have the capacity to do that. It's just Andy's in a better position to do that early. And the worst case scenario is when you have a young, talented guy that goes in and gets beat up in the early part of the season because he's just not ready. Then you've made a mistake as a coach to put him in a position that he wasn't as ready for as he could have been, especially when you have a veteran guy that can carry the water for a little while.
But and I've heard this before. The starter, the veteran, might not be as mobile, but he's going to be able to get us in and out of protections. We want to throw him in, to Lions Den week 1. And that's actually how Deshaun Watson's career started. Deshaun Watson, week 1, his rookie year, the Texans are playing the Jags. And this is 2017 when the Jags had that awesome defense. And in the brilliant wisdom of Bill O'Brien, he's like, nope, not starting a rookie. Tom Savage is our starter. And in that first half, Tom Savage was sacked 6 times, fumbled twice, and at halftime they're like, oh my God, go to the kid. And he never looked back. And could that same situation play out because the Bears have a bad offensive line potentially? I know it's obviously early, but it's not rated to be great. Yeah, it could. I want to ask Brandon this question, though. Brandon, I assume that Andy Dalton in practice has looked like Andy Dalton. Wilds during the break was like, oh, I got to find my bad Andy Dalton stats. And I just text him a screenshot of his last 4 years. It's like, hey, there you go, all of them. If in practice the players are seeing that Justin Fields is the better option, can that start your season off on a sour note if they are putting Andy Dalton out there, even if Fields is out playing him in practice?
Nick, it won't necessarily start the season out on a sour note. You just look at it like, let's just trust the coaches. And even though we know Justin Fields is the hot hand, Coach, he has to make these calls. And let's just trust him to say, like Coach Mangini mentioned, we're going to get lined up in protection and we'll see how it goes. But if Justin Fields takes that starting role on starting day, it's a different type of energy. The team want to rally around him. You'll see your defense get more turnovers because they feel like right now we got the players in place to play that we need to win games and make a run in this division right now. So the players will take their play to another level, knowing, hey, the guy that we know should be starting behind center is there, and let's go out there and just win some games. So it's a different electricity amongst that franchise.
Still have to face Aaron Donald week 1, though, against the Rams. I'm not sure he wants that. By the way, guys, if you watch this Bears preseason game, you heard fans pretty vocal about their quarterback choice to the point they were booing Andy Dalton and chanting for Justin Fields. The rookie talked about it after the game. Listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, I noticed it. Of course, the fans are awesome getting me out there, but they also have to realize, Andy's a human being too. Andy's out there on the field right now. So I really just think it's kind of disrespectful to Andy, them cheering my name out like that. And, they have to, trust in coach, make sure he's making the right decisions and, just cheer Andy on. Like that's not helping Andy play better than cheering my name. That's not doing none of that. So, I would say, my advice to them would be just cheer for who's out there playing on the field.